Welcome to Green TV, the show dedicated to positive Green New Deal solutions and the candidates that advocate for them. I'm Gail Parker, your host for today. Green TV is about Green New Deal eco-jobs for the economy, positive solutions. Eco-capitalism, prices must tell the environmental truth. It's about the green industrial revolution. It's about solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs. It's about rail jobs, weatherization jobs, conservation jobs, efficiency jobs, lots of jobs, geothermal jobs, rail jobs. It's about building walkable, bikeable, green neighborhoods, pedestrian-friendly and rail-friendly communities. It's about having cleaner air, cleaner water. It's about cutting taxpayer subsidies to zero for fossil fuel, big oil, big auto. Rail built anywhere in America benefits all of America. Renewable energy is free energy. It's clean energy. On today's show, we are focusing on solar energy, how it works, how much it costs, and some common mistakes that newbies make. But first,
Ron Fisher is asking all candidates for public office to make implementing the UN Sustainability Development Goals target action plans part of their platform on both the state and local levels. Ron Fisher is a retired U.S. Navy captain and former nuclear submariner and engineer, a pacifist who advocates for the elimination of all nuclear weapons. Ron Fisher is a father, a husband, a grandfather, and the executive director of PeopleNow.org, an independent Green candidate for delegate to Virginia's General Assembly from the 49th District. Ron Fisher supports renewable energy and more trains, less traffic. Vote for more trains, less traffic on November 7th. Vote for Ron Fisher.
I'm Ron Fisher, and I authorized and paid for this message.
and now this on solar panels.
Every hour the sun's energy falls on the planet is equal to the amount of energy used by the entire human population in 1 year. The energy from the sun is in limitless supply. Unlike oil or gas, solar power is a reliable source of energy whose prices never fluctuate. Solar energy is free. How does it work? Solar electricity is generated using photovoltaic cell technology that has been optimized over years of research. Simply put, the greater the intensity of the sun, the greater the current of electricity. Solar panels collect sunlight and turn it into direct current or DC electricity. Even on cloudy days, your panels will absorb sunlight. The system's inverter then turns this DC electricity into the same electric current that comes from your traditional utility lines. Your solar electric system is connected directly to your utility power supply so that the excess power from your solar panels will be fed back to your local utility company. Why BEP? We offer incredible cost savings and an easy installation process. We'll handle everything from planning and installation to getting you all available federal and local incentives. With BEP, switching to solar is easy, affordable, accessible, and a smart investment. Contact us for your free site assessment and consultation. Get in touch with us today to learn more about our no money down, no interest for a year special offer. Solar energy. Our planet needs it. Your future needs it. Your business needs it.
What's up, YouTube? This is LDS Reliance. I get a lot of questions about what components I use and how much things cost and where did I get them from. So I thought I would do a video on how much solar panel systems cost. What do they really cost in the real world? So as I was thinking about this, I wanted to divide this into 3 different categories. The first category would be the small systems These would be systems like I show in my Solar for Beginners series, where you've got a small 10 or 20 watt solar panel. You're just starting out with solar, and you're using cheap components that you don't necessarily need to depend upon every day. The second category would be like your medium-sized systems. You graduate into something where you're going to actually use it for something, but you're still probably under 1,000 watts, and it's not something that you're powering your whole house off of or whatever. And the third category would be large production systems, like you would kind of have installed on your roof on your home if you were going to power the whole house off, or cabin or whatever, off of solar, and you're using the and this is a kind of a quote-unquote mission-critical application that you really need to depend upon. The other thing that I wanted to discuss before we start talking numbers is we're only going to be talking about an off-grid setup. So in other words, like you see in the picture, you need a solar panel, you need a charge controller, you need a battery, you need an inverter. Those four components are non-negotiable. You have to have them. That's the only type of setup we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about a grid-tied system because there's lots of variability there. There's different ways you can set that up with, micro inverters versus bigger inverter. I mean, and then you've got the installation cost, where you really need to get a licensed electrician involved. So we're not going to talk about that. We're only going to be talking about off-grid. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about these components individually.
This is on the lower end. This is a 20-watt panel. You've seen it in a couple of my videos. When you're dealing with really small panels, you're going to pay a little bit more per watt than you do for some of the middle and higher end panels, just because there's more material other than the wafers themselves. So generally speaking, you're going to probably spend about $2 to $3 per watt for these. Now, if you hunt for a good deal, you can probably still get them for about $1.50 a watt. This one in particular was $30, so it's in that $1.50 per watt range. It's a 20-watt panel. So this is a good example of a lower end panel. It's 12 volts. Almost all of the low end panels are going to be 12 volts. You can find really small ones, 4-volt panels, 3-volt, 6-volt panels, but I'd recommend you stay away from those. Okay, and here we have about a medium-sized panel. This is a 100-watt panel. This one in particular is made by Grape Solar and cost me $130 with free shipping from Amazon. So it's still relatively about in that $1.25 a watt range with shipping, which is about the best you're going to get right now.
Now on the larger end, the ones that you use to kind of put all over the roof of your home or whatever, these are big panels. You're going to 100% guaranteed to pay shipping freight costs. So expect high shipping costs, but generally speaking, you can usually find something, you can get down into the $1 per watt range if you really look. Now, that's not paying for the name brands like the LGs and the Kyocera and some of those name brand, but if you're smart about shopping, you can find about $1 per watt on up to, you can spend a lot higher for name brand panels or for more advanced technologies, but generally speaking, $1 to $2 per watt plus freight shipping is about what you can expect.
And here we have a good example of a low-end charge controller. A lot of these will just be Chinese knockoff units or just no name, and they'll be available on eBay or Amazon or something for $20 or less. Sometimes you can find them for $10. I think that's what I paid for this one. They're nothing special. The electronics in them are not that great, so this is great for learning on, but you really don't want to be depending upon this. And here you have kind of a middle range, since we're talking middle of the road, got about a middle range charge controller here. This is a TriStar TS60. This one is a little bit under $200. It's not MPPT, but it's about as good as you're going to get non-MPPT, and it can handle 60 amps, and that's a pretty decent system that is definitely beyond kind of the beginner phase.
And for the large charge controllers, expect to pay much more. Now, when you're installing a home system, you're probably going to want to move to the maximum power point tracking, or MPPT technology, which increases the cost. And you need reliable components that you can count on, that are going to be safe and that you can depend on every day to provide you with power. So you're probably going to be in the $400 and up range, $400 to $1,000 a piece for these things. And as it shows in this picture, you'll probably need multiple charge controllers depending on how many panels you have and how many batteries you have and so forth. For small hobby systems, you can use sealed lead acid batteries like shown here. These are great because they're fairly cheap and they do not require any maintenance. And now these are going to cost you approximately $2 per amp hour on the battery.
And then here we have kind of the middle of the road batteries, in my opinion. Now this is going to be, these are definitely the step above the little sealed lead acid batteries that you play with in those smaller systems. These are deep cycle batteries, but they're not renewable energy batteries. These are kind of the $90, $100 variety from you know, Costco, Sam's, Walmart, whatever.
For large systems, you're going to want to use batteries that are designed to handle the abuse and are very reliable. So, for example, this Trojan T105RE, or renewable energy. Now these, keep in mind, these are very expensive, very heavy, and they come in 6 volts. So you're going to have to put multiple batteries together in series to achieve the voltage you need.
Okay, here's an example of a lower end inverter. These are the kind that you're going to see at your gas stations and at Walmart or wherever for, you know, 20 bucks, 30 bucks or less. These are, you know, they typically come with the car adapter. So that's kind of what they're designed for, but they're perfect for solar because they use 12 volts input, and then they have, you know, your USB and or your outlets and or your USB connections so that you can use them with various loads. And here you've got a good example of a middle of the road inverter. This one still doesn't have a ton of watts. I think this is only a 600 watt unit, but this is a pure sine wave inverter, and it's much cleaner power, much more expensive. This is a $200 inverter.
And last but not least, for large inverters, you're still going to want to stick with pure sine wave so you can run your sensitive electronics and so forth, but you're going to need a lot more wattage, so expect to pay a lot more money. These are going to typically cost $400 to $1,000 or even more depending on how many watts you want in one unit. Okay, so what does this all mean? Well, for small systems, again, like I've shown in my Solar for Beginners series, expect to pay roughly $120 for the whole system. Now, we can argue till we're blue in the face about exact prices, but this is a pretty good ballpark, plus or minus what you'll pay in real life in US dollars. For medium-sized systems, we're taking a little bit of a quantum leap here, and we're going with more robust equipment, bigger. Everything costs a little bit more, so we're looking at roughly $1,200, $1,300 in that range. Again, plus or minus a little bit, but that's about what you can expect to graduate to the next level. And then for large systems, this is again another large quantum leap forward in price and complexity. So you're looking at minimum $6,000 to $8,000, probably more like $8,500 to $10,000 to put in like a 3 kilowatt system is basically what I spec'd out here. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this has been a little informative and eye-opening for some of you.
Welcome back to Green TV, the show dedicated to positive Green New Deal solutions and the candidates that advocate for them. Today we are featuring solar energy, how solar panels work, how much they cost, and some common mistakes that newbies make. I learned a lot putting this show together. I hope you enjoy it. And now more on solar energy.
The sun. Every day, the sun shines more than 3 trillion watts of free energy on the Earth. That's enough energy to power over 3 million homes for an entire year, being produced every day. Solar panels harness the energy and convert it into clean electricity to power our homes, businesses, and lifestyles. Light from the sun stimulates electrons on a solar panel. These electrons create DC, or direct current electricity. Solar electricity travels from the panels on your roof through an inverter to the circuit breaker panel of your building. An inverter changes DC electricity into usable AC, or alternating current electricity, before sending it to the breaker panel of your building. Your home uses that electricity to power the electronic devices we use every day. It's like having your own power plant on your roof with an endless supply of clean energy. Anytime the panels are producing more energy than you are using, like sunny days when you are on vacation, the excess energy is sent back to your utility company, where they are required to buy back your excess electricity at the same rates they would normally charge, a concept called net metering. The utility company purchases your excess solar electricity and sells that energy to homes and businesses in your neighborhood. Even homes and businesses that do not have solar panels are still buying your excess solar electricity. When the sun goes down, your home or business purchases electricity from your local utility company the same way it has in the past. However, credits from your excess solar energy produced during the day will offset nighttime charges, which are much cheaper than peak daytime rates. This maximizes your savings through time of use billing, where you are selling energy to the utility during daytime peak hours while buying energy during nighttime off-peak hours. Instead of buying electricity from a power plant that burns coal and other pollutants, you are taking advantage of the free, abundant energy of the sun. As energy rates continue to go up, your system produces clean, renewable energy at no cost to you. Now you get to choose how much to spend on electricity. Imagine if we could do that with gasoline prices. Today, there are some incredible incentives and rebates to help pay for solar installation. Finance programs can help you install panels for as little as $500 down. Increase the value of your home or business by reducing your energy costs. Businesses will increase profits, while homeowners will increase their home's market value. Help save the environment and reduce global warming. Start producing your own clean energy. For more information, visit Solar Buddy's system quote page to see how solar will benefit your home or business today.
Are you spending a large portion of your paycheck each month on a high electricity bill? Over the last 30 years, utility rates have continued to increase by about 6% per year. Unless you stop turning on your lights, using your kitchen, and washing your clothes, it'll just keep getting more and more expensive. And that's the bad news. But here's the good news. You have a choice. You can now tap into the sun's natural energy and use it to power everything in your home without having to write a big check to a power company at the end of each month. Here's how it works. Every day, sunlight will stream down onto your solar panels with photons, which are particles of sunlight. Then, the solar panels convert those photons into electrons of electricity using photovoltaic cell technology. The amount of electricity generated depends on the intensity of the sun, but even on cloudy days, your solar panels will still absorb sunlight and generate you energy. Once the energy is transferred from the sun, it flows from the solar panels to an inverter that converts the raw electricity into ready-to-use electricity for your home. You don't have to do anything. What's even better, solar electric systems can produce more electricity than your home needs, and the extra you do not use goes back to your utility grid. This is called net metering, and you'll be able to enjoy watching your utility meter spin backwards. Then at night or on cloudy days when your solar system is not producing enough energy for your home, you will be able to draw power down from the grid, so you never have to worry about running out of electricity. And if you are producing more energy than your household requires, then you'll get a credit from the utility company. You'll feel good about your solar investment, not only because it will provide you with a lucrative annual return that you can rely on, saving you thousands of dollars on long-term utility costs, but because you'll be doing your part in providing a safer planet for you, your family, and future generations. Best of all, it's a lot more affordable than you might think. If you're ready to stop wasting money on high electricity bills and start harnessing the free power that's available to you right now, just give us a call. Mention this video and our friendly team will be able to answer all your questions.
What's up YouTube, this is LDS Reliance. Today I want to talk about the top 7 mistakes that people make when they go solar. These are in no particular order and they apply to on-grid, grid-tied, or off-grid. Number 1 is confusing daylight hours with sun hours. A sun hour is a specific unit of measurement that we use in solar to define the period of time in the day when we're going to get the most out of our solar panels. So when it's summertime, we all think, oh, the day is super long, we've got 12 hours of daylight, everything's going to be great, our solar panels are going to be working awesome. However, even in the middle of summer in July, the sun may rise at 6 a.m. and set at 9 p.m., but you're only getting 7 sun hours in the middle of that day where your solar panel is working anywhere close to its maximum capacity. So the rest of the day the sun will still shine, the solar panel will still work, but it will function at a very, very, very reduced rate. Number 2 is underestimating your power consumption and the various devices that you have in your house. We all have a bunch of different devices in our homes, but not very many of us know how much they're consuming. So how are we supposed to know what this stuff consumes? Well, there's a couple different ways. Number 1, you can get a device that will measure the electricity consumed over time, and you can do some math. Or most appliances and electronic devices in your home will come with information from the manufacturer that gives you an estimate of, especially appliances, as you see here, there's an energy guide, and it tells you an estimate of how much this device is going to consume. Pay special attention to air conditioners, heaters, blow dryers, microwaves, stoves, refrigerators, and so forth. If you at least get a grasp on those big devices, you'll have a pretty good idea of what you're going to consume. Number 3 is not decreasing your usage first. This one is a no-brainer if you do a little math, and I know we're all scared of a little math. So let's do an easy math problem first. The average solar panel costs about $1 per watt. To replace an incandescent light bulb, a 60-watt light bulb with a 10-watt LED light bulb is going to cost you $5. That's going to net a savings of 50 watts. That's going to result in a $50 savings in solar panels you don't have to buy now because you made that energy saving step. There are lots of other ways that you can save on your usage before installing solar, and it's a big deal. You're talking thousands of dollars on a whole home system just by making some careful upgrades first before you do so. Number 4 is having unreasonable or unrealistic expectations. However you got interested in solar, whether you're wanting to go green or you want to save money, you need to know the limitations of what you're getting into. So it's very tempting to go out to Harbor Freight or to Amazon or whatever and find a solar panel kit, and it's affordable. It's $100, $150, $300, whatever it is, and you have great visions of doing lots of stuff with this system. I get these questions in the comments all the time. I want to power my refrigerator with this solar panel. Okay, well, let's think about this for a second. You've got a 100-watt kit that you bought, but you have a 600-watt refrigerator. How's that going to work? Your solar panel would have to work 6 times longer than your refrigerator, and your refrigerator runs 24 hours a day. It's just not a realistic expectation, and that's just one example. I'd recommend that you start small with something like a light, and then you can scale up later once you figure out what the limitations and the production of your system is going to be in the real world. Number 5 is bad solar panel installation. This is not giving enough thought to how you're going to mount the solar panel and all of the considerations that go into that. There are lots of things to consider when mounting your solar panel. I'll just talk about a couple real quickly. Number 1, it has to face south. If you live in the northern hemisphere, it needs to face south. Another one is that the angle that you mount the solar panel needs to be equal to the latitude of where you live, roughly speaking. If you can't move it to track the sun, it needs to be approximately the angle of latitude. Another one, and this is not very well known, is that solar panels are designed to run cool. They don't like heat. So that's counterintuitive because they operate in the sun, but a solar panel's optimal range is about 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And so if you don't leave enough air gap behind the solar panel, or you put it in an area that's going to see excessive heat, it will never reach its rated efficiencies. Number 6 is taking a deal that's too good to be true. Usually this is going to be with the grid-tied systems, the leased systems that people are selling door to door now, but it can also apply to off-grid as well. We've all heard the phrases, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, and there's no such thing as a free lunch. So when someone comes to your door and is selling you a solar panel system completely free to you that's going to completely eliminate your electric bill or decrease it to almost nothing, there's going to be some drawbacks to that you need to look into. I'm not going to get into all of that. That's not the point of this video, but you need to look into the finer print and the drawbacks of what you're getting into. Another scenario is that you do a lot of research, you do some shopping, and you find a pallet of solar panels for 30 cents a watt. Well, chances are that's probably going to be B-grade cells or something, and typically those are just cosmetic, but they can very much affect the performance of your solar panels. So know what you're buying, get some pictures beforehand, get some guarantees or whatever before you buy something like that. And finally, number 7 is buying before defining your load. And this is one that I made myself, so I know what I'm talking about here. What this is buying a solar panel system before having any clue what you want to do with it. That's a little like buying a house without knowing who's going to live there and what your needs are. You may get a smoking deal on that 1-bedroom townhome that's amazing, but then you promise your brother's family that he can come live with you and he's got 4 kids. How's that going to work? A lot of this stuff just comes down to patience. Know what you're doing, do the research, cover all the angles, ask people who have done this before so that you know, and then decide what your wants are out of the system before you go out and buy something. Don't be like me. I did that. Luckily, it all worked out in the end, and I was able to recover from that, but some people may not. So that concludes our list. Hopefully you learned a few things. Maybe I warned a few people before they make a mistake. It'll all be worth it if that's the case. So as always, thank you.
More on solar energy. Green TV is about Green New Deal, eco-jobs for the economy, positive solutions, renewable energy, free energy, clean energy. On today's show, we are continuing our focus on solar energy. Today we feature Denmark's smart energy systems. But first, this candidate with a positive solution.
I'm Audrey Clement, the independent candidate for Arlington County Board. As a 13-year Westover resident and civic activist with a PhD in political science and service as a congressional fellow, I'm running for County Board because Arlington faces several crises that County Board has failed to address. Among them, overcrowded schools, loss of green space, and an office vacancy rate double the historic average. If elected, I pledge to emphasize basic services like streets, schools, libraries, and public safety, seek tax relief for residences and businesses, and stop the exodus of federal agencies from Arlington. Promote consolidation of housing programs to improve efficiency. Promote installation of efficient renewable energy in all public schools. And provide a voice on County Board for all taxpayers. If you share my agenda, then spread the word about my candidacy. Donate to my campaign. Together we can make the Arlington way more than an empty phrase. I'm Audrey Clement, and I authorized and paid for this message.
And now this on how Denmark plans to go 100% renewable energy.
Denmark has decided to become independent from fossil fuels for the sake of the climate, the economy, and in order to ensure the security of supply. At present, wind and solar energy already delivers a good share of Denmark's energy, and this development will continue. But renewable energy is a major challenge for an energy system that is built upon fossil fuels. Energy production from wind and solar fluctuates. It fluctuates as the wind blows. So what renewables are reliable when there is no sun or wind energy available? Another challenge is the transport sector. How do we create an energy system of renewable energy where also cars, ships and planes can operate on fossil-free energy? A great example of an energy system that will ensure Denmark a 100% renewable energy system is called Smart Energy Systems, a coherent fossil-free energy system that will create lots of new jobs and green energy for the Danes, both in terms of electricity, heat and transport. The northern region in Denmark is one of the places where they are most advanced in the development of smart energy systems. A description of the future intelligent energy system is also a journey around the northern region, to places where they are in the process of testing and implementing new technologies. It is at the Department of Planning at Aalborg University that the idea of smart energy systems is developed and described. The researchers continuously review all parts of the Danish energy system, and the results have been thoroughly analyzed and compared with new technology solutions and opportunities.
The unique thing about smart energy system is that in order to identify the cheapest and the best solution, you'll have to include the whole system. If you only look at electricity, then you can only find part of the solution. But if you look at electricity together with heating or together with biomass, then you can find better and cheaper solutions to integrate wind and to implement a renewable energy system.
The key word is integration. In smart energy systems, the energy system for electricity, heating and transport must cooperate. They have to be integrated in order to cope with the fluctuating energy. To become independent of fossil fuels, Denmark needs to streamline its production and consumption of energy at the large combined heat and power plants and in private households. Public transport needs to be expanded, and energy optimization in buildings can reduce Denmark's consumption of space heating by 50%. In 2050, the Danes must use 25% less energy than today. And this despite a growth in society towards significantly more people than there is today.
If we do not think of end-use energy savings, and if we do not think about the sectoral integration, then we end up in a situation where we have two problems. One problem is we will not have enough biomass available for our entire consumption. And the other problem is we will not be able to integrate the fluctuating renewable energy sources because it is only by having a sectorial integration that we are able to match the demand with the production from wind, PV and wave power in the future. And by doing this, we find the economic consequences of making this transformation are for sure within reach, and the total cost can be at the same level as we have of the energy system today, or maybe even lower.
Wind, solar and wave power will provide 50% of Denmark's energy in the future. The remaining 50% of our energy production will mainly come from non-food-based biomass, wood and straw, all provided by Danish agriculture and forestry. In the smart energy system, the use of biomass is carefully assessed so that it does not become unsustainable. It is important that Denmark does not overconsume biomass, since this will start to affect other sectors such as food production. Therefore, the biomass needs to be used efficiently and correctly. A good share of straw and wood is already used directly as fuel in Danish CHP plants today. With new technology, biomass, straw and wood can be utilized to create even more energy. This will be done through the production of green gas, respectively through classic biogas production and thermal gasification. In thermal gasification, the organic material is heated, The high temperature means that gas is evolved. The process has a very high efficiency. Thermal gasification occurs, among other places, at the gasification plant Harbour Heating Plant in the northern region. The plant is one of the most successful gasification plants and has been in operation since 1993. The plant is heated exclusively with untreated wood chips from forests in the local area. Another part of the green gas will come from classic biogas production. The production of biogas will be based on manure and other agricultural byproducts, as well as waste from households and industry. The ambition is that agriculture must provide 1/3 of Denmark's future energy production. The biogas will typically be produced in facilities such as here, at the biogas plant in Gårdstrup near Hjørring in the northern region of Denmark. 88% of the biomass the plant uses comes from aerial farms that transport approximately 300,000 tons of manure to the plant. The rest comes from energy crops. Gas production from the biogas plant at Hjørring corresponds to approximately 5,000 households' annual consumption of natural gas. Other places in Denmark, the manure will be transported in pipes to a common biogas plant. The biogas is produced by anaerobic gasification, a process that requires the biomass to be heated to 38 to 52 degrees. When the gas is extracted, the digested manure is transported back to the farm. The digested manure that comes back to the farm smells significantly less, and the fertilizer from the digested manure is absorbed much better by crops in the fields.
Landbruget spiller en meget vigtig rolle i udbygningen af det smarte energisystem. Og vi mærker, at investorer, både nationalt og internationalt, er interesseret i bioenergi. Og når vi kan fremvise gode budgetter og sikkerhed for investorerne, så mener vi bestemt, der er mulighed for at udbygge området.
The green gas can be used in different ways in the energy system. A part of it will be used directly at the CHP plants, where the turbines will be converted from coal to gas. Other parts of it will be used for fuel cells. Gas turbines and fuel cells are very efficient and can quickly be switched on and off. This creates flexible power plants that effectively can adapt production to the fluctuating energy from sun and wind. The CHP plants will hereby continue to be an important part of the Danish energy system. The electricity produced at CHP plants is sent to the national power grid. In total, the green gas, wind and solar could produce all the electricity Danes need. The large amount of heat, which is a residue from the CHP electricity production, will be allocated to the 405 local district heating suppliers, who are spread out across the country. The district heating system in Denmark supplies around 1.6 million houses with heating. The district heating system connects the electricity sector to the heating sector. When there is a surplus of wind power, the combined heat and power plants can reduce their electricity and heat production. And large-scale heat pumps can produce heat which can be stored in a thermal storage. The many homes outside the urban district heating systems will be supplied with heat from heat pumps that get their energy from the power grid. Heat pumps require burial of a water pipe to about a meter in depth, as it uses the difference between the temperature in the air and in the ground. Solar panels on the roof of private housing or large commercial plants are already a great part of the heat supply system in Denmark and are to be expanded. In addition, heat will also be produced from geothermal plants, where heat is extracted from the high temperatures underground. Electric cars are a way to use renewable energy in the transport sector, but electric cars cannot do it alone. New technologies and solutions must come into play to ensure renewable energy for the entire transport sector. One of these new technologies is the conversion of green gas, a conversion which is completed at a so-called hydrogenation plant. Such a plant is currently being planned for construction in Hobro in the northern region. At the hydrogenation plant, the green gas is boosted with hydrogen and CO2. The CO2 is extracted from the smoke at the CHP plants and hydrogen is produced by a surplus of electricity, which is generated when wind turbines produce more energy than what is needed. The hydrogen is produced through electrolysis and use electricity to split water into hydrogen and oxygen. A variety of liquid and gaseous fuels can be produced from the hydrogenation. Liquid fuels such as methanol and dimethyl ether, DME. In the smart energy systems, methanol is used to supply the cars which cannot be converted to electric vehicles.
That's right, methanol is one of the solutions that can bring us to 100% renewable energy within transport. The main problem to put transport on renewable energy is that if we don't think about this in a holistic way, we will not have enough biomass resources to make the transformation. If we use the technologies, the first and second generation technologies that are being focused on today, we will simply not have enough biomass available for covering both the balancing in the electricity sector and the needs in industry, and also all the needs that we have in the transport sector. If we focus on the transport sector, we need, of course, to have the personal vehicles on electric or battery electric vehicles. But then we have all the heavy transport in trucks, we have ships, and we have aviation. And here there are a number of solutions that we can use, and one of them is methanol, another could be methane. However, for both of these, we need to find some ways where we can get power from wind or from PV into the fuels that we run the trucks, ships and planes on. If we don't do that, then we will not have sufficient biomass resources available for the transport sector.
The green gas can also be used directly in the transport sector. This will require gas tank stations and a conversion of car engines. Direct use of electricity should be priority number one. However, green gas may be used to supplement, most likely in trucks and ships. Green gas can also be applied to the national natural gas grid. Green gas is, in fact, when it is cleaned, chemically the same as natural gas. The natural gas grid allows for storage of great amounts of gas. It occurs in caverns, which are large cavities in the underground. Here it is possible to store 25% of Denmark's annual gas consumption. As the natural gas in the North Sea runs out, it is possible for green gas to gradually replace natural gas in the Danish gas system. At the same time, green gas can create the much-needed balance between production and consumption in the Danish energy system. When there is a lot of sun and wind, then they produce green gas. And when there is less sun and wind, they use green gas.
And that's the whole idea of smart energy systems, to combine green gas and the integration of wind and solar and make this all work. But it's not only the technical thing to do this, it's also how to implement it. And it's also the idea that if we invest in doing all this in countries like Denmark and other countries that import fossil fuels, then we will spend the money on investments, and then we will save imports of fossil fuels. And doing this is one of the best economy boosters we can have and job creations that we can possibly have in economies like the one in Denmark.
With the initiation of smart energy systems, Denmark will have an integrated and sustainable energy system where energy is produced, stored and consumed efficiently. Smart energy systems will ensure that energy is no longer produced at a few central power plants. In the future, a great deal of energy in Denmark will be produced locally. One example is Maja Fjord municipality in the northern region. The municipality buys energy, primarily fossil fuels, for more than 1 billion kroner per year, money that leaves the municipality. In the future, local companies will become capable of offering the municipality to produce a large part of this energy as renewable energy. This will mean a significant boost in terms of new and lasting jobs, as well as a contribution to a significantly improved economy in the municipality, and for Denmark as a whole.
For Mariefjord Kommune vil en omlægning af energiproduktionen, sådan at vi køber i dag for 1 milliard eksterne fossile brændstoffer til internt produceret biomasse med mere, betyde, at vi vil få dels en stribe en produktion ud af det, et antal arbejdspladser og et kompetenceløft. Hvis vi laver det regnestykke, at en arbejdsplads skal omsætte 1-2 millioner kroner om året, og dividere det op i 1 milliard, jamen så får du de der 500-1000 arbejdspladser over den periode, som det vil tage at få lavet den her omlægning til vedvarende energi, som vi kan være selvforsynende med. Vi har regnestykker, vi har undersøgelser, der viser, at det potentiale er til stede, og så skal vi have systemerne til at passe sammen. Der er også noget, der hedder afgiftssystemer og den slags ting der. Men kan man få det hele til at passe sammen og leve op til regeringens vision 2050, så er det en vej frem, der vil betyde meget for den lokale økonomi.
The self-produced energy and local ownership will mean a remarkable increase in supply security in Denmark. Regardless of what may happen on the international political scene, no one will be able to shut down energy supply to the Danes. Last but not least, an integration of smart energy systems will mean that Denmark becomes emancipated from fossil energy, which benefits the environment, the climate, and the economy.
Welcome back to Green TV. You're watching Green TV, the show dedicated to positive, green, New Deal solutions and the candidates that advocate for them. Today, we are continuing our feature on solar energy. I hope you enjoy it, and now more on solar energy.
What's up, guys? I'll show you my solar system I'm installing here. We are installing a in-phase system. I got a 1.47 kilowatt system I'm installing that we bought off Affordable Solar. These are our panels. These are 245 watt Canadian solar panels. Got 6 of them in series, and once again we're doing an in-phase system using in-phase inverters on the roof. And here's my junction box. Went right through the roof, right through the attic, and ran the wires using Romex 12.3 in through the attic. My breaker box is on the back. I'll show you that in a little bit. And yeah, a couple of challenges, I guess, that made this project difficult. You know, I really had never done a roof penetration, and this is some of my first roof penetrations. I got 10 roof penetrations in total here. So that bare copper wire, this is my grounding electrode conductor. And I'm using this called the solar mount I-beam. I really wouldn't recommend this solar mount I-beam again. I probably wouldn't use it if I had probably won't use it again. Just gave me a little bit of trouble, you know, I didn't really like the splice. But yeah, let me show you the back too. I'll show you the junction box just one last time. So the in-phase is pretty good. They got this engage cable running, comes off these in-phase inverters, AC, and comes into this box. This is my junction box. This is my Romex wire right there. And I'm going to use that little terminal strip to junction between the wires. And I got a little like kind of splice neutral kind of connector for my my number 6 and my ground. Yeah, let me show you the breaker box. Alright guys, so here is my AC disconnect, my production meter, and there is the breaker box. So I had a choice of whether to go through the attic or come around the house with conduit. I chose to go through the attic mainly because I thought the wire run was definitely shorter, and the homeowner expressed some concerns about I guess, making an expansion over where I was going to run conduit. So we ran through the attic. That was just a little difficult because you had to, like, this eave right here is like a 6-inch crawl space. So you really need like 2 people to get up there and grab that wire. But it wasn't too difficult, you know, if you can get into small spaces. Conduit comes down into my AC disconnect. There's my AC disconnect. Just got that off Square D. I said I'm running a Romex 12 gauge wire, and I'm running into my production meter. And I used that plastic conduit, you know, you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot. That was pretty cheap. And here's my breaker box. Conduit runs in there. I just gotta run into my breakers that are right there. That I got 20 amp breakers. That's about it. Let's see if it works tomorrow. What's up, guys? Again, I'm gonna show you the final system, ready to produce power. So here are the panels. I did a time lapse of this. All right. So here's the time lapse. I found it best to connect the wires up first and then clamp on the panels. Those panels need to be torqued to a specific rating. So I had a torque wrench there, and it's pretty straightforward. You know, mainly just bolting stuff on at this point. Yeah, this is the easy part, really. Nice being out in the sun. Just want to make sure those cables really aren't hanging on the roof. I basically just zip tied them up there onto the I-beam. And there I am, just making sure those cables are on the roof. It's me gunking up that roof penetration, threw some rocks on it just to make sure it was hearing right. That was about it. And yeah, they went up pretty fast. Probably only took about an hour or two to put the panels up. There's my roof penetration all gunked up with tar. And yeah, it's ready to turn this puppy on. It's not too sunny of a day, but we'll definitely produce some power here. Alright, so we're at the back side of the house here. We got through electrical inspection yesterday, and I had to make a couple of changes. The electrical inspector, we're here in Carbondale, Colorado, so if you're dealing with Bob Fuller, he's the state electrical inspector. And a couple things he didn't like. He didn't like that I didn't have this conduit, I guess, strapped to the wall. So maybe put those on. So I can put one there, one down here too. I already had my labels, you know, depending on your jurisdiction. I don't know if you need labels or not, but in here, in the production meter, Bob had me make some changes. You know, these lugs on this production meter, this is a 200 amp lever bypass production meter, and Bob had me just make just extensions of number 6 wire, because I just had this number 12 wire, Romex wire into these lugs, and you know, definitely by the UL listing over here, it's only supposed to be number 6 and bigger, which I read, but I kind of ignored. So Bob just made me do some extensions, and yeah, I guess that'll work. And I just used wire nuts on the wires. I also had those, I had like some rubber grommets that I had bought at Ace Hardware that the electrical inspector also did not like. So I took those off. It was a bit of a pain yesterday, but only took me a couple hours. And yeah, now we're ready to turn this puppy on. So let's see how it goes. Alright, moment of truth. So I'm going to flip on our AC disconnect and flip on our lever bypass. And I'm just having nightmares that this thing's just going to blow up my face, but at least I got my safety glasses on. I'm going to flip the breaker, and maybe we'll produce some power. Let's see what the meter says. I think it might take a while to produce a kilowatt hour, but I'm going to take some measurements, and at least it didn't blow up. Alright, so we bought one of these Envoy communication gateway systems for the in-phase system, and I just hooked it up.
let it go through its process there, and you can see once it scrolls through, we just produced 578 watts of power, 391 watt hours already. So I'm pretty confident that's working. Great. And this thing you can hook up, they have a website too, so you can monitor production and stuff. So I'm going to do that next.
You're watching Green TV. We're talking about eco-capitalism and solar energy. Prices must tell the environmental truth. Join the green revolution. Solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs, rail jobs, weatherization jobs, conservation jobs, efficiency jobs. Building green neighborhoods, walkable, bikeable, pedestrian, and rail-friendly communities. Having cleaner air and cleaner water, cutting taxpayer subsidies to zero for fossil fuel, big oil, and big auto. Renewable energy is free energy. It's clean energy. Rail is safer and can run on renewable energy. Rail built anywhere in America benefits all of America. That's it for today's Green TV. I'm Gail for Rail Parker, your host for today. Please join us again next time for Green TV.